Hi everyone, Shadow River Gaming. Today I have another top 10 video for you. Today's top 10 video is actually kind of following the same top 10 I had a little while ago called top 10 Most Underrated Video Games. Today's top 10 is based somewhat on that. I'm actually going to lower the horizons a little bit and actually do it on my favorite console. That's the Nintendo 64. The reason I'm doing this is because so it won't be so hard to choose from the many mass amounts of underrated video games in the world. The Nintendo 64 is my favorite console. It's my favorite console to collect for. I grew up playing it, so I know there's a bunch of underrated video games on there out of the 300 that is on the console itself. So I thought it'd be pretty easy to do, or a lot more easier than the other video I posted, which was just out of any games. And most of the games back then were when I was just kind of beginning hardcore collecting, and just some games I had seen out in the wild, and just I was really in a hurry, so it wasn't really that structured. But this time I'm actually putting time into some of my favorite games that are really underrated for the Nintendo 64. Now some of these are fueled completely by nostalgia, and but they actually are pretty underrated for other games. Now, like all my other videos, keep in mind that it is my opinion. On my other video, I had a few things, yeah, a few comments, say, just obvious, it's my opinion. I'm always open to video responses. I'm always open to comments. If they're kind and nice and not you being a total dick, I'm cool with it. It's cool. I would love to hear you guys' opinions on underrated video games, especially on N64, and any game in positive and particular. Now, I'm actually happy if you guys give me some, what's the word I'm trying, criticism, corrective criticism, but don't be like a jerk about it. But yeah, I'm totally open to other opinions, and I would love to see your guys' videos, video responses. And yeah, I would love to see that. Just to make sure you be kind about it, and just keep in mind it is my opinion. So don't get mad if there's a game on here you want to see or do not want to see. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and start the video. And as always, God bless, happy gaming. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and favorite, and keep on rocking and playing video games, man. Love you all, guys. You're awesome. Alright, number 2 on my list is Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap is pretty much just what it sounds like. Taking pictures of Pokemon. I think that is the reason it kind of turned off a lot of people, because it sounds pretty dull. But when you get down to it, it's actually really fun if you're a Pokemon fan. You go around and you snap pictures while riding in a cart. Like I said, it doesn't sound very fun, but once you play it, it's like super fun. You go around and you see all Pokemon in their environment. You take pictures, give them to Professor Oak. It's just really fun. It has a pretty well-rounded objective. Now, it's not a great game to play. Like, it's not a game that has an incredible storyline, but it's a really fun game to play when you're bored, maybe if you have nothing else to do, and it's just a fun game all around. Make sure you play it before you hate on it, because it's totally worth playing. It's a super fun game, and if you haven't played it, make sure you go out and try it. Super fun, and that's why it's number 10 on my list. Okay, number 9 on my list may be a shock to some people, but the reason I put it number 9 on my list is because it's not considered really underrated, but I think it's kind of, you know, downgraded and looked over upon from its pseudo, I guess you could say, sequel, GoldenEye 007. Now, don't get me wrong, GoldenEye 007 is a miraculous game. It's a great first-person shooter, and I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooters, but GoldenEye 007 is a great game. But I chose Perfect Dark because I love it so much more. It has such a better objective, in my opinion. It's actually so big that you have to have an expansion pack for your Nintendo 64. But the whole entire gameplay just got me more, because you are like a special agent, and it's just really cool. I know it's the same with James Bond and all, but I don't know, something about Perfect Dark made me like it even more. It might just be the futuristic kind of atmosphere to the game, but I don't know, I just like it more than GoldenEye 007. Like, keep in mind, it is my opinion, so don't get mad, but that's the reason I put it at number 9, just because it's not really underrated, it's just kind of downgraded from 007. Nonetheless, both of them are really great games, and if you haven't played Perfect Dark, make sure you go check it out if you like GoldenEye. Number 8 on my list is a game called Nightmare Creatures. Now, with that being said, I am a huge survival horror fan. Resident Evil, Dead Space, games like that, I love. I could just play those for hours. But here's a game that I really don't hear too many people talking about. Now, when I do hear them talking about it, it's usually they're talking about either the sequel or the game on the PlayStation 1. I really never hear somebody talking about their top 10 favorite Nintendo 64 games and hear them say Nightmare Creatures is their favorite. Now, what's cool about Nightmare Creatures, it doesn't follow the same kind of path that most survival horror games follow. Like Resident Evil, for example, sometimes you usually have guns, you shoot off stuff, and sometimes like Dead Space, it's like futuristic. But what's cool about Nightmare Creatures, it takes it back. It takes you back to near the 1800s. And that's just really cool because you'll fight with like katanas and stuff. And it just takes you back. It has a really cool adventure, and heck, it's made me jump quite a few times. It's a really fun game, being honest with you, I think it's pretty underrated for it being a survival horror game. If you've never played it, make sure you go check it out. It's really cool. If you love survival horror games, totally play it. Like I said, it has a really cool twist on the whole entire atmosphere. The gameplay is fun. It's really dark. That makes it really eerie. And to be honest, it's pretty creepy too. So it's a really fun game, and that's Nightmare Creatures. Coming in number 7 on my list is a role-playing game called Hybrid Heaven. Now, I'm a huge RPG fan. Any game from Final Fantasy, being turn-based RPGs, to Legend of Dragoon, anywhere to action-adventure type RPGs like The Elder Scrolls or The Legend of Zelda. Any game like that, I absolutely love. And what was cool about Hybrid Heaven, it was more of a futuristic type game. It had that cool atmosphere. It had cool characters. The storyline was actually really good, and the whole entire game just immersed me into a really cool state. Now, keep in mind, it's not as great as a game as like Final Fantasy VII or anything like that, but it's actually a really fun game. I've heard many people say that they didn't like it. I've heard many people say that it wasn't that great of a game. But in my honest opinion, I really liked the game. Like I said, it had a really well-rounded objective. It wasn't a bad game. And it's just really fun. And in a video game, I think that's pretty much all that matters, is being fun. And Hybrid Heaven is definitely a game like that. If you like RPGs, you need to totally go check this game out. It's really fun. And just the entire atmosphere is just unique. The game itself is really unique, and it's really a shame that it didn't get as popular and as prominent as many other games. But heck, it's really underrated, and like I said, I hate it didn't get as popular as a game like Final Fantasy VII, which is not as good as Final Fantasy VII, but it's a really good game. So make sure you give it a chance. Go check out Hybrid Heaven. Coming in at number 6, heck yeah, Wave Race 64. Now, I absolutely cannot stand racing games. When it comes to Wave Race 64, I freaking love this game. Let alone it having great graphics for the Nintendo 64, and I don't even care about graphics. The game is amazing, and I know I'm really over-exaggerating this, but the game is freaking awesome. It's like so fun. It really wouldn't sound fun. You're just riding a Sea-Doo or a jet ski around, but it is so fun. I got this game back when I was about 4 years old, and my friend gave it to me, and I popped it in my N64. Didn't really actually get into it back then, but since I played it a few years after that, I absolutely fell in love with the game. The game is amazing. It has such a good atmosphere, and it's like so fun. I know I'm like at a loss for words here, and I know I sound so stupid just sounding like it's a great game and it's a racing game, but it's like super fun. It's really fast paced. It's just a super fun game. The colors are very vibrant, and for the Nintendo 64, I really couldn't complain about the graphics. It's really fun, and to be honest with you, it's probably one of my favorite racing games of all time, and I really don't like racing games that much. And that's why I just love this game. It's just so great. If you haven't played it, make sure you check it out. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say on that entire topic, because the game is amazing. Make sure you go check it out. It's totally worth the money. I don't even know how much it is now. It can't be too much because it's pretty common, but it's totally underrated because it's just, you don't hear about it much, but it's such a good game. Make sure you check it out. Alright, number 5 on my list is a game I was introduced to by a really cool dude who actually live streams on Twitch TV. His name's Devocy. I'll leave some links and annotations and in the description to go check him out. He's a really cool dude, and he's freaking Canadian. Canadians are awesome. But, yeah, back on subject. He actually told me about this game in one of the streams, actually after I had posted my top 10 most underrated video games. And he told me to look up this game, and I had actually never heard of it before. And it's actually called Operation Winback. The game is pretty much about you being a somebody in the team called Scat. Totally avoid the name if you have a very totally avoid that name. And pretty much what you're pretty much like the SWAT team, but they had to name it Scat. Yeah, and you're actually sent out to you stop a terrorist group called the Crying Lions. But it's actually a really cool game. It's a third-person shooter, as you can see in the clip, and it's really cool, it's really fun, and the gameplay itself is really fun to play, and the game actually looks really good. The graphics aren't terrible in the game for a Nintendo 64 game. It's a really fun game, it's really cool, and for a game coming out of 2000, like I said, it looks really good. It's a really fun game. Make sure you check it out. It's really cool. Alright, you guys remember in the intro how I said some of these games are fueled completely by nostalgia? Number 4 is that game. That game is Duck Dodgers. Now, some people may remember this show. It was a cartoon back nearly in the 90s, nearly to 2000s. And the game was pretty much featured off of the cartoon. The cartoon featured Daffy Duck, obviously. And, yeah, I actually totally forgot about this game until about last year. And it had always been in my mind, and I remember playing a game like this when I was younger. And I actually found out about this game, and it was so awesome. It was like the biggest burst of nostalgia ever. It was amazing. And I had remembered about it, and it's actually a platform type game. And I'm actually a huge platform fan. And the game is really fun because I was actually a huge fan of the cartoon series, and I still am. The game is just really fun. Like I said, it's based off of the cartoon, and it follows it actually pretty well. The game is really fun. It looks really good. The music is actually really nice as well. And, yeah, like I said, it was ran completely by nostalgia. I'm pretty sure most of you have actually probably played this game, or have at least heard of it, and have possibly seen the cartoon. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that you guys will totally remember this. If you haven't, you should totally go check out the cartoon as well, and even the game, because they're both awesome, and that's number 4. Okay, like I mentioned previously in the video, I'm a huge role-playing game fan, and I'm also a huge Nintendo 64 fan. And the downside about that is the Nintendo 64 majorly lacks role-playing games. Now, keep in mind, there are a few good titles. Quest 64 wasn't the best RPG of all time, but that's what we got on the Nintendo 64. And there are some other rarer games, like Ogre Battle 64, that's pretty much impossible to get your hands on. And, yeah, but there's also another RPG that many people look over, and that game is Iden Chronicles: The First Mage. Now, Iden Chronicles is obviously an RPG, but it's kind of based on back towards the medieval castle type era, and that is a huge thing for me because I totally love that kind of stuff. That's why I love the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, all the Elder Scrolls games, to be honest with you. Anything like that really captures my attention, and I love being a mage in role-playing games. So this game just totally was perfect for me. The game is amazing. The gameplay is really great, and to be honest with you, the graphics actually aren't too shabby for a Nintendo 64 game. And I'm usually not the person to pick away at graphics, but the game itself is just amazing. It's phenomenal. I actually first got this game for around $3 to $4. I wasn't expecting much, but I saw The First Mage, and the front of it looks like it would be an RPG, so I had to get it. I went home, played it, and I love it. It's such a good game. And I hate that so many people just overlook this. Well, you can tell people, hey, I'm a huge Nintendo 64 fan and I love RPGs. And they'll be like, well, yeah, all you have is Quest 64. No, you barely ever hear anybody mention Iden Chronicles. And it's such a good game, and it's such a shame that it doesn't have the credit that it actually deserves. It's such a good game, and now keep in mind, I'm not trying to say that it's anywhere to being close to, like I said, a Final Fantasy VII or even an Elder Scrolls, but it's fun, and for us huge Nintendo 64 nerds, and us huge RPG nerds, and we want to actually play an RPG besides Quest 64 on our Nintendo 64, this game is what we want to look for, and it's totally worth it. And like I said, us not having many games, RPG games, on the Nintendo 64, Aiden Chronicles is perfect for that. It's totally just fills that gap. If you are an RPG fan and you haven't played Aiden Chronicles, you totally need to get it. If you can't find a copy of it, I'm not the person to say emulation is correct. I'm not a huge emulation fan, but if you don't have a Nintendo 64 or you can't find Aiden Chronicles, get this wrong. It is amazing. You need to totally play the game. I know I'm sounding like a huge fanboy here, but I was actually in this spot a long time with totally being RPG-less. I don't even think that's a word, but I just made it. RPG-less, and you have no RPGs to play on Nintendo 64, look no further. Aiden Chronicles is where you need to go. It's totally a fun game. That's why it's number 3 on my list. It's really underrated. Make sure you play it now, and it is by far one of my favorite RPGs of all time. Coming in number 2 on my list is a very underrated third-person game, and that game is called Force Gemini. Now, Force Gemini is made by a company you people may know who've made some very prominent games for Nintendo 64. GoldenEye 007, Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day. That company is called Rare. The games that Rare make are really awesome, and most people know about Rare's games, which is very a shame that they moved to Microsoft because, you know, they totally messed up Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. But hey, that's way off topic. Okay, back to Jet Force Gemini. Now, what Jet Force Gemini is kind of about is, like I said, it's a third-person shooter type game. It actually has kind of a cartoon feeling. It has that kind of cartoon-looking kind of feel, but it has that awesome, brutal third-person shooter type feeling as well. The game has a very solid storyline. The entire gameplay is just great, and like I said, the graphics are cool. They're really very unique. It's just an awesome shoot-'em-up type game, action-adventure, third-person shooter, all combined into this awesome, totally underrated video game. Just amazing, and pretty much the entire story is you go around and obviously you shoot things, third-person shooter, you fight against things, and you're pretty much the last people that are humans on Earth, and you're part of the Jet Force Gemini. You have to fight against hordes of drones, and you have to fight against the evil leader Mizar. That's pretty much the plot. I won't go any further because I don't want to ruin your own story. But we'll just cut it short right here. That Jet Force Gemini is a very underrated game. If you haven't played it, you need to go pick it up right now. It's totally worth however much money it is, and you should totally pick it up. It's just awesome. And yeah, that's why it's number 2 on my list. Jet Force Gemini is very underrated. Make sure you go pick it up as soon as possible. It really sucks that it's not as popular, but heck, we as huge Nintendo 64 fans need to come together and give this the praise that it needs. Okay, everyone, coming in at number 1 is Bomberman Hero. Bomberman Hero is a game, like I said, fueled completely by nostalgia to me. But that doesn't mean it's not a great game. Bomberman Hero has some of the greatest aspects that you could have to have a great video game. One, its gameplay is phenomenal. If you love platforming, you will absolutely love Bomberman Hero. Second, it has a great storyline too. It has a really cool action-adventure type storyline. 3. The atmosphere. The atmosphere is just awesome. The atmosphere with the game just makes you feel like you're part of the game. And 4, the holy, awesome, godly, amazing soundtrack. It's totally one of the best soundtracks of any video game. And it has some amazing drum and bass music. It had I think it had a full-fledged, total commitment to me loving drum and bass music. Hearing this awesome music at the age of 2 and 3, I'm pretty sure it totally formed me into being a huge drum and bass fan nowadays. If you like platforming and you have not played Bomberman Hero, you totally need to pick it up. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of emulation, but if it's the only way you can play this game, totally get the ROM. It's totally worth it. And if you have an N64 and you see this game out in the wild, totally try to pick it up. It's amazing, and do you and the entire race of humanity a favor. Play this game. Play the awesomeness that is Bomberman Hero. Hi everyone, Shadow Gaming. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, favorite, and subscribe. I would love the support, and I love hearing your guys' positive comments. It makes me want to go even harder and even keep trying to make these videos. Also, make sure to check out some of my other videos. I do have a few more top 10 videos, as well as some pickups videos, and a few other videos. As well, make sure to check out some of these other channels I have linked in annotations, and in the description as well. They do the same thing I do, and I would love for you guys to subscribe to them too. They're really nice people, and they totally deserve the subscriptions. As well, I also want to give you guys kind of a channel update as well. I'll be posting some more videos as soon as possible. I'm going to try to do it as frequently as I can now. I know I've had kind of a hiatus, but I'm going to try to end that and go full-fledged back into making videos as kind of in a schedule. So make sure you watch that, and the best way that you keep in touch with my channel is to subscribe. So make sure to drop a subscription and comment, rate, and subscribe as well. I love to hear you guys' positive comments. I love for you guys to continue to give me positivity and to tell me to keep going. I love everything you guys do, and most of all, I love you guys. You help me out so much, and I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. So thank you so much. Stay tuned to my channel, and as always, God bless and happy gaming.